Hello,
Everyone, how are you?
Good to have you back, viewers. If you are tuning in for the first time, you are welcome to Mom and This Moment Talk Show. Before we begin the session from now, please remember to subscribe to our channel to keep you in the loop for subsequent episodes. So today we are treating a very intense topic, which is prevalent in every part of the world, Africa, white, everywhere. It's referred to as domestic violence in marriage. In fact, in homes, it is very prevalent and it's something that I feel like we should discuss extensively. Today with me, I have this amazing, awesome, beautiful couple. They've been married for over 25 years and counting. Glory to God. It's not easy to find marriages lasting that long these days. I can testify. Hence the reason they are giving this topic. They must be doing something right for them to have sustained their marriage for this long. The Hingstons, you are welcome to Mom and This Moment Talk Show.
Thank you.
I'm really happy to have you all. And in fact, I'm getting goosebumps. I'm excited. So let's do the show.
Okay.
Please can you introduce yourself to the viewers properly?
Okay, I'll start with Egerton.
Hingston.
I'm Claudine Hingston, wife of Egerton Hingston.
Oh, awesome. Nice to have you guys once again.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll dive into the questions. We are looking at domestic violence in marriage. Let's start by understanding what domestic violence is all about and with regards to it in marriage.
Well, domestic violence is violence that occurs within the spheres of the home. Normally, because it can be both ways, but normally it involves a man battling his wife or maybe abusing her psychologically or even verbally. But that does not mean that a woman also does not abuse her spouse as well. So it's violence that takes place within the confines of the home.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Daddy, do you have anything to support?
I would just say most times when they think domestic violence, they just look at one side about the man battling the wife or the girlfriend. But in many instances, you have the opposite happening. Just that because men have their ego, they sort of don't talk much about this. Because, for example, if a man goes to the police to report, particularly within the African context, if a man should go to the police to report that my wife hit me or my wife did this to me, people would laugh at me.
It even sounds
It sounds strange. How could you allow your wife to beat you? But there are other forms of abuse, like for example, the woman depriving the man of their child. Women taking, if they have children together, the woman depriving the man from visiting the child, just denying that right. That can be very emotional. And I know of guys who have been denied access to their kids, and that is very painful. I've met a guy I visited him once. He was actually crying to me, literally crying, to see this woman anytime he tries to reach out to her to get access to his child, the woman denied access. So that again, it's sort of things which we don't talk about, and sometimes men suffer in silence. They don't know who to talk to. Even to talk to their peers, it can be a difficult thing to meet your friend and say, this is what is happening within me, and share that experience and find the solace to cry on, not literally cry to explain. That perhaps men need from time to time.
Thank you so much. In fact, I'm sure this is getting emotional for me. So let's just look at the types of abuse that is faced in marriage.
So in terms of abuse can be physical. Physical in itself means like you can kick or hit someone or bite someone or scratch someone. There's so many things you can do to someone physically. And even killing someone, that's all part of physical abuse. Because I think that is the ultimate. Okay? But you also have verbal abuse as well. When the words that you say, words can't actually kill you, but attack. They have such an impact on your life. They can actually make you feel worthless. You can maybe devalue yourself, and you keep asking yourself, what is wrong with me? I've heard so many stories at times of men telling their women some nasty things, making them feel low, and at the same time, women, because I'm trying to keep a balance here, but you also have women as well who actually demean their husbands, their spouses by the things they say. Okay? Then you also have psychological. Psychological is all in the mind, you know, but at times that is even more degrading than physical. And you don't even see it. You don't know that it's happening. And at times
it's very inside.
exactly, and at times people don't even want to talk about it. You know, so they don't even economic. There's also economic abuse. At times you know that maybe your spouse maybe does not have a job. You know, you have a duty to help him or her, but you withdraw economic assistance to that person. Then you want to be in a position of power, so that even if that person wants, it will just go behind, that person has to virtually like cripple or beg you to just have something. So there are different forms of abuse within in terms of domestic violence.
Thank you so much. Okay, we'll recap viewers types of domestic violence. It's not just physical. We're talking about emotional, psychological, and economic. So, couples watching, please, I do pray that you search yourselves. If there's any way you can contribute to any of this, try please to make amends. The reason we're treating this is for people to watch and learn and make amends in their homes. And I pray the Lord will help us to make better marriages and keep our homes in Jesus' name.
And as you said, I think we should reiterate that abuse is not just physical. I think people just limit abuse to physical.
True.
And at times when people want to talk about other forms of abuse, people like don't even want to listen. It's like, oh, you're aware, you look fine, what is it that you want?
And not knowing that
it is
inside.
eating you inside. Yes.
Daddy, do you have anything to add to?
Well, I would just want to say here, like you said, the abuse cannot be physical. There's that aspect of nagging, which some men find very hard to. When you have a nagging partner, you come home all the time, you have a wife nagging at you every moment for any minute thing, you have that nagging. That can sort of drive a man crazy. That's why some men, you find some cases, some men come from work, they find it difficult to get home because of the fear of what they're going to do. So they end up to drinking. And that is the reason why I say, this violence thing, it's more or less looked at from just one perspective, but they have to look at it from both sides. Because if you sit with some men and hear what they go through at home, you'll be surprised with what their wives do to them at home. You will be shocked to know what is happening. So it's nice to actually look at what men suffer as well. So it's not just one side. And I'm not saying men are right in doing this. Some of the reason why some men take to violence is just an outburst. It's just a bubble busting because they've kept this thing within them for so long a time. They don't have someone they can talk to, so they just explode. And the point of explosion, they just do whatever comes to their mind and later on regret it. That doesn't give them the liberty to do what comes, because you must always have your emotions intact.
Absolutely.
Your emotions must never overcome your reasoning. Right. So you must have that reasoning power. So, but still, because of this bubble which is building up inside them, when it bursts, it can be catastrophic. And that's why some men eventually hit their wives or resort to murder or those things, which I don't think is right. So it has to be looked at different ways. There should be an avenue for men to express themselves. We've had so many women conferences, women talking about their problems.
So we'll get to that.
Never had that.
We'll get to that. There's a question that will address that. So let's just, in the meantime, let's just look at the causes. You have mentioned the issue of venting and packing up negative energies or all of these things inside, especially for the men. What other causes could be the reason for this domestic violence, emotional, physical, and all of that?
There is also the issue of at times of power, because in terms of most women who are hit by men, it's a matter of showing their power over a woman. That you are my wife, you need to do what I say, and if you don't, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to show you that I'm the man here. So I think that is what is in power. Toxic masculinity, believing that I'm the man, I've got the power, I can do whatever I want over you, and there's nothing you can do. It's also mentioned poor anger management. You are unable to manage your anger, and it's both sides, because we've seen even women going hot water over a man because they get so close, or a woman or a man even get to the point of killing his wife or a partner because they get so close. So anger management is one big thing. Toxic masculinity is also another thing because you want to show your man, and the way you want to show it is to ensure that you are in that power position as well. Drinking is also another issue. Some men drink, and when they drink, they become abusive. And even both, I want to say vice versa, because drinking and becoming drunk, and then you lose your reasoning power. Issues like drugs as well, it affects. So there are so many reasons. At times, even just peer pressure. You complain about your wife or your spouse to someone, and they say, "Oh, are you taking all that rubbish for my wife? I just give her a backhand, just slap her." So you listen here, you also tired. So there are so many reasons.
Okay, and then can you shed more light on the causes of emotional abuse?
So, in my own case, I don't see any reason why a man should lift his hand against his wife. That is totally wrong. That aspect of eating your spouse, because if you love something, I don't think you must change that thing, and you mustn't resort to violence. But she's highlighted quite a few, but then, as I mentioned earlier, but things like drinking, there is a reason why some men take to drinking. It's because of psychological problems, because of what is building inside. They find a solace as to where I could sort of find comfort, when in actual fact it may not be comfort. The results can be devastating. But sometimes again you see, because I'm looking from it from a man's perspective, because she has looked at it from the woman's perspective. But there are so many things that women do to men that would sort of result to men venting out their anger. Like I mentioned, a woman denying because of perhaps they have a divorce or they have problems in their own, that woman denying the man the right to even have access to the children. That can be a serious concern.
Thank you so much. I'm blessed, and I'm sure viewers, please drop your take-homes, one or two things we've got me so far. And please, I want you to share with us. This is something I know viewers look forward to. They like the practicality of our interviews and our sessions. Could you share with us what has kept your marriage so far? Hints that has kept the love. I can see the love glittering in your faces, especially that of Dr. Mrs. Snooki. Share with the viewers, let them get to know what has kept you all from living in harmony, no violence, physical and all of that.
Yes. And I do thank God because we've been married just over 25 years, and he's never in his life hit me or anything, no violence in that sense. For that I'm thankful. So I think what has kept us so far is he's my best friend. I think in every relationship, your spouse should be your best friend. But when he's your best friend, he's the person that you can come to when things are bad. You also be with him when you are good, look thick and thin, as they say. If there's a problem, he's the first person you want to call. If there's maybe good tidings or bad tidings, it's that person that you want to call. So I think over the years, it's my husband, but it's my brother as well. He's my best friend as well. And we can talk about anything. And we can even have our fights. Something that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about physical fighting.
Yeah, I know.
Husband and wife, you have your arguments. We're two different people coming together. But at the same time, we're able to overcome those challenges. And maybe we're having a fight in the morning, by the end of the day, we are like fighting. We wouldn't even know. So I think being a best friend to your spouse is what has kept. That's for me. But I would like to hear from you.
We would like to hear from you.
I would say what kept us together for over these 25 years is love. As Paul says, love must be patient. It must be kind, it must be long-suffering. As Lionel Richie puts it, sometimes you have to be a fool. Because in one of these songs, his lyrics, it says, no, it's not endless love. He said, and love, I will be a fool for you. Because sometimes, just to swallow a lot of things, you have to pretend like a fool. Not that you're being stupid, but if you want the marriage to go on, you have to pretend as if you're a fool. So I would say love conquers a multitude of sins. It must not be, love must be patient, it must be kind, it must not be boastful or self-centered. You must always think of the others.
Thank you so much, sir. Viewers, I'm blessed. I'm sure you answered. So let's take the last question. Intervention methods for intervention mechanisms for let's look at it in two aspects. For the abused, what intervention methods should be taken, the abuse of the victim, and for the abuser, what intervention in case he or she, because some people have anger management issues and don't know how to deal with it until they've committed that act or that, taking that step, then they realize or come back to their senses. So let's look at intervention methods for the abuser and the abused.
So I think let me start with the abuse, then you can talk about the abuser. Okay. So I think first of all, whoever is being abused should first of all learn to talk about it, because most people suffer in silence. At times, even when they are battered, you could see someone walking with a black eye, a swollen face, and you ask what is wrong, and tell you, oh, I bumped into a door. Even lying, people. I've seen women doing that, and they actually lie. So you need first of all to be able to talk about it. You must have someone, whether it's a friend or a relative. So first of all, start by talking, and then they also, you can also actually complain about it. Then you go to the police, you talk to a psychologist as well, because abuse should not be tolerated in any form. At some point, you'll die, especially when it's psychological. Physical, especially when there's evidence. So you have the police to talk to. You could also see a psychologist as well. Someone that you can talk to, be able to guide you in terms of what are the mechanisms you can take. Okay, of course, you also have the legal aspects, where you can also go and complain and action can be taken. And if that person is abusing you too much, you can even give that person a restraining order against you, because they don't want you to go down that road. But I would encourage whoever is being abused to take action. Don't just say, okay, it's my spouse. It's good to forgive, but when the abuse keeps on coming all the time, you need to say something. You need to talk about it, and you need to take action. Don't suffer in silence.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
But in terms of the abuser, we have to go back to basics and get the family structures in place, because that is a serious problem in society.
True.
Because when the family structure is broken, kids don't have any discipline, so they don't know, there's no one in the house to control them. They feel they can do whatever they feel like doing. So it starts from a very young age. So at that age, that boy or girl doesn't know how to treat his sister or his brother in the home, because I'm a man, I can beat my sister like that. But if there is a good family structure, I'm not saying there are those who come from good family structures don't end up being abusers, but that's one way we have to go. Get our family structures intact. And the other thing, there has to be a forum for people to actually communicate. Okay, like I've said earlier, you have several instances where you have women's conferences, where women go and talk a lot about doing things. Men should sort of organize those things. More of those things. We want to see that also being organized by men, where they sit and talk. Sometimes you can meet guys and you share. Sometimes when you meet with guys and just talk, if you hear some of the things they go through in marriage, which they endure, so men need to sit and talk and find a solution. How could we find a common ground? What must we do when these things happen? And then there should be that counseling to say, okay, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. Don't take this action, don't go down that road. So we need more of that in society. Because mostly what we hear most of the time is women meet women. But not men meet, and talk problems around.
Very true, that is true. I love that point. Really. Wow, viewers watching, I think this is something our society needs to pay attention to. There should be more engagement between for the men as well.
There should be that balance.
There should be balance. This is something that has to be recognized by society. Thank you so much. I forgot to ask this very important question. In the issue of domestic violence, in most cases, especially in the African setting, women stay back, or men, let's look at it both ways. They rather want to stay back and endure whatever they are going through in order not to wear that name of being divorced or separated. Why do you think this happens?
It's because of the stigma. There is that stigma that if you are a divorcee, you are a failure. And at times you're not even welcome, especially some women, you're not even welcome in your own family home. So So at times you just stick within the marriage, even though you are dying. You don't want people to say, "Oh, she's a failure, she's a divorcee." There's that stigma. That's why, because I think within our African structure, we put a lot of prevalence on marriage. That even if you don't get married, it's like something that is going to. So now you're married, it's like, how can you leave the marriage? Who are you going back to? What are people going to say? And so that is one reason why people stay in these marriages that are abusive. And another one is the issue of financial independence.
True.
Women especially stay in those marriages because they want to go, but it's like, if I go, who's going to take care of myself and the kids? I'm not financially empowered. So that is also another problem why women stay.
And so what do you think is the solution for that when it gets too physical?
Well, I want to say something here because sometimes family interventions can help. The extended family. We've seen cases where extended family have actually come into the marriage and saved the marriage from collapsing. So, particularly within Africa, there is a lot of that which is happening. That's why you find out, if you look at, there are more divorces if you take Africans, for example, they are more divorce when they go abroad than when they are African.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Because within Africa, people will go all out
to help
save that marriage and have parties, put parties together. They're not always successful, but in most cases, they can succeed. And in some instances, they can counsel the husband or whoever is the abuser to say, hey, this is not right, this is not right. So, family interventions can help save those marriages.
That's a very important. Viewers, that's something I've never really paid attention to. It makes huge sense because I know of some family friends, I know what they go through, and then there's no one to actually call when they're outside the country. So that's a very big point. Do you have any take home for our viewers? So far, I've really been blessed, and I do believe that our viewers. Please keep dropping your take homes. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe because we get more interesting sessions like this. Any advice, take home for our viewers?
I just want to say, whether you're a husband, a wife, or a man or a woman, you should never abuse your spouse. Never like hit someone. You should learn to manage your anger. I've seen cases where men have become so angry at something, and the next thing is like, and then maybe later they actually feel bad about it because it's something they don't want to do. So I think you should learn to manage your anger. And at times, if you feel that that point I'm going to bust, maybe it's better than you getting out of the house for a while. Go around, get some fresh air, talk to someone. It's a reality. A simple thing like that can save a life, or someone getting into hospital. So if you get to that boiling point, just get out of the house, go out, talk to someone, have some fresh air. And probably by the time you come back, you feel better.
And then your partner will also come to have sense.
Yes,
I was like about myself, because I like being very practical. Viewers know me. I remember in the beginning of our married 2-3 years, usually I'm someone that vents easily when I'm angry. So when I'm like, man, the space is like this, and he just drives out. And then he drives around for a while and he comes back. So that period is out, I'm already like getting sober and reflecting and like, what have I just done? So by the time he's back and welcoming him and the whole atmosphere has changed. So really I think viewers, that will work. That's going to work for us. So let's just try. Those things, those excesses,
those little things help.
They help. So really, thank you so much once again, the Hingstons.
That's one thing. One thing I want to say. If you love something, you must cherish it.
True.
Two, I went to the wedding long years ago where the priest, the priest gave. There's one statement which he made in that wedding, in that address, which forever stuck in my mind. Never let your emotions overcome your reason, because it can be devastating. Always keep your emotions intact in times of problem. Keep your emotions intact, and your reasoning must always supersede your emotions.
Thank you so much. That is a very powerful word that is leaving us with. Keep your emotions intact in order for your marriage to be kept intact as well. Until then, see you next time.
Bye, guys.